You're listening to the Psychic Coffee Shop Podcast Network.
Well, good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, with tonight is Sleepy Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm pretty good. A little sleepy, but yes.
Yeah. It's been a week. It's been a fun week. It's been a crazy week.
Yes. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm half evil, as normal. But, we'll get through this. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Brenda.
Absolutely. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Brenda.
It's been a good week. We haven't killed anybody. There has been no bond posted, no insurance claims filed. So yeah, it's been interesting. Now, I believe it was you shared in the dense and interesting information.
Oh.
About Mr. Justice. He isn't a governor. He's a useless bag of skin, but
yeah. So we're opening things back up because our death rate is down 85%. I still don't know that's the best metric.
Yeah. We've not killed anybody, so that's why we get to open it back up.
Hi, Susan. So, yeah.
Yeah, because let's take a look at our lovely COVID numbers. Let's see if they've improved any. I don't believe they have.
Well, I don't think they've not improved. I don't think that's it. I think a lot of the reason that we're having improvement, hey, Rachel, has a lot to do with, just like we are rolling out vaccines, we are getting some things under control. I'm not saying we should stay closed forever, but we've already sent kids back to school now. We haven't really waited to see on that too much, and now we're just going full steam ahead. Right. And this is in the wake of Texas doing it total, just forget it.
Right. Well, this is Texas, whose governor should be charged with murder. This jumps us into another one.
There.
Yeah.
Hey,
hi, Ashley. Hi, Brenda. Yeah, he's trying to keep up with Texas, Republican after Republican. He's so useless. But both of them, it's like, really? You're going to send children back to school. We don't even have accurate data on the current COVID crisis on children because no one's tracking it. We don't have access on the inflammation disease that's hitting the young ones because nobody's tracking it.
Yeah.
And send them back to school. Now he's opening restaurants up. Now watch. 2 to 4 weeks, we'll probably have a spike, and they'll be with their hands in the hat. But while we're taking care of Texas, looking at Texas, whose governor should be charged, along with the rest of ACOT or ECOT or whatever the little power board is.
ERCOT.
Yes. And they
I just keep putting a leg on Epcot. That's what I have to keep doing to remember it.
I know. Well, I'm sure Walt Disney wouldn't have had that bull crap go on.
No, I don't think that was part of the World of Tomorrow, no.
Nah.
But no, that's the only way I remember it. I just have to keep thinking Epcot and add a leg. Just add a leg.
Mm-hmm.
The only place you can add a leg.
Right.
But yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I guess I could have made it Epcot, but, that's a weird leg. Because you can make a G out of the
Yeah.
C. But anyway.
Are we looking at my spelling, honey? We can make it into anything.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I can confirm and assure I can spell anything any way I want to. There got to be an X or a V in there. We got this. All right.
But yeah.
Yeah. And, so we're opening back up. We're getting vaccines out. That's good.
Yes. We are running into more availability for vaccinations. So yay.
Johnson & Johnson just getting theirs out. They also make baby hair solution. We're looking at maybe this fall. They're not sure if we're going to need another one. So that'll be interesting to see.
Well, and that's another important part of it is at this point, there are more virulent strains as well as we're not 100% sure what the vaccines, as I last checked, are going to do with those. These were built around the original. Upside doesn't allow it to, if you don't get the original, it cannot, sit there and keep morphing. However, with alternate strains already out there, if you do get one of those and the vaccine doesn't protect against it, then potentially that one, you get a worse version, and two, that lets it incubate further and do more things and mutate further.
Right. And then we got to look at, I don't know. Let's talk stimulus bill for a moment. And let's talk our lovely senator of West Virginia, former governor, a.k.a. useless fuck number 4.
Basically, yeah, so Manchin has been fun. He was all against the minimum wage increase. And right now, like, I don't know, last I checked, it looks like we're not getting the next round of stimulus. It's looking like that's already ticking people off.
Well, it needs to tick them off. We need to get new senators. We already have a useless idiot in Texas, Ted Cruz, whose state was freezing to death, and he takes off to Cancun. Now I got Manchin. And I know that we talked on Tuesday about this Onion article. I'm debating whether it's real or not looking at this stuff.
Well, yeah, Onion put out a piece that, as you read through it, honestly, there was a hot moment. I didn't read that it was the Onion, and I was following right along for about 80% of it, going, that's fair criticism, yeah. As in, to be something that would come out of his mouth, or by his actions, might as well have. But yes, and great news, Brenda. She got a Pfizer vaccine today. More importantly, got a vaccine today.
She got a vaccine today. You get the brass cookie today.
Yes.
I'm very proud of Brenda taking the vaccine. I will say this again because I apparently need to keep saying this. Wash your mask, wear your mask, wash your hands, get your vaccines. We want over with this one and done. We do not want to create a super bug.
Yeah, and probably an important thing to put out there is if you're not using a disposable mask, you do have to treat this like laundry. Just because it goes on your face doesn't mean it can't get as ugly and nasty as your underwear. So please change them just as often. Just a little PSA out there. If you're in a mask for 8 hours a day, you got to treat that like underwear. Probably should just treat it like underwear. Just wash your mask. I don't know. It seems to be a thing that people have to be told now. No one ever thought we'd have to tell people that one, but yeah, you have to wash your underwear and change it often. More often is better, at least once a day. Masks, same thing. Helps with the mask knee. Helps, with the not getting face ew. Let's call it that, face ew. Like, you don't want junk ooh, you change your underwear. You don't want face ooh, change your mask.
Yes, and change it often. We've gone into wearing, I'm using now the disposable over a cloth one sometimes, but normally just the disposable one, just because it's easier at times to get it on my face.
Yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
and think about your eyebrows. I don't know.
Cleaning eyebrows, taking care of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do that too. Yeah. Do the landscaping, do the manscaping, do the like, even if it is chopping down national forest, please do it. Like, stop the bushiness.
Well,
But yeah, it's also had to have been really hard for a lot of people. Like, we got into that conversation just personally the other night.
right.
It's that, like, I'm wondering if maybe if this is not either, like, we kind of went back and forth on it. If this is going to end up being the biggest push towards, like, like hygiene and like beauty care ever after this is all done, like cosmetologists will be in too short a supply.
Right.
Or if it'll go the other way and people will be like, I've been a cave woman, I've been a caveman for like, a year now. Like, I'm just, this is who I am. I'm a nasty human being now.
No, I'm looking forward to
I have
seeing Miss Bubbles.
I have a mustache. I have,
Yeah, me and my hair is looking forward to seeing Miss Bubbles.
Yes.
And, going and getting my pedicure and all that. I'm a pampered bitch. Yeah. I earned that right.
Yeah, well, but I don't know where it's going to go for people. I really don't. Like, I could see it like falling either way. Like, here's my thoughts. Is like, you've just had, and especially when you look at our older generation, like, you get into the 80-90 crowd, they have a standing weekly appointment. They do not miss it. They do not go for any reason. Like, best they do is they'll try to bump it up a little early, and it creates a little old lady train reaction. Like, you got to move people all over the place. It's like a bad game of chess,
right? Because
someone had a funeral. And grandma wasn't going to the funeral without her hair done, even if it was her own. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of people are now so out of cycle for this, and I've seen it in some of my friends, some of the older ones that have avoided going out.
Right.
One, because they are doing everything they can to minimize their risk, because age being a risk factor. But two, just, well, I'm not going anywhere else. Right. This all became a low priority.
Uh-huh.
I understand. Plus, I'm wondering, I'm just curious right now. I'm wondering about the effect that COVID-19 is having on poor straight boys. Here's my reasoning. There's going to come a point in which, well, and it may be happening now, to a lesser degree, but can you imagine there's going to be a point in which, like, next fall, people are going to be taking off their masks and just going about life, and every woman's going to look like she just shaved off a massive fucking beard. I'm just wondering if straight boys are going to have an issue here where they're like, you're going to have a tan line, is all I'm saying. It's going to look like you shaved off a beard.
Mm-hmm. This is why you go to the tanning bed alone. But, yeah, I'm hoping to get amethyst when I go back to see Miss Bubbles. We will see, because she will either look at me and say, yes, it's possible, or are you joking? But at the same point, there are some things in life
I think some people are getting some facial structure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, apparently Ashley's saying that basically happened to her cousin over the summer.
Yeah.
Is she ended up with the mask tan line?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is like you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting as life slowly restart. I think government's starting too fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least wait to May when we know that there's enough vaccines for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of which, we do have a new one. It is the Johnson & Johnson One-Shot Wonder.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Well, you gotta love one shot. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
well, this is the one that drugstores can give out.
Okay.
This is the one that normal hospitals can give out without having to invest in a very expensive freezer system. This is the one that, you know, I don't know, the health department could get in those lovely cars we pay tax money for, put a cooler in their back seat, and go into some of these hollers and take care of.
Absolutely. And that is going to end up being a larger issue. Now, granted, our more rural areas, as West Virginia so adeptly demonstrated, were slower to be affected.
Right.
A lot of those areas have been prone to pocket problems, as in they are hotspots, but they're pocket hotspots. They don't have the same exact dynamics of, like, you know, New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Denver. You know, there's not that same kind of, like, you know, once you start seeing like 10 cases, you're going to see 100.
Right.
By the time you've seen 100, there are 1,000. You know, it's not going to have that same effect. But it does mean that these are probably going to be some of the slowest served areas.
Right. And maybe our biggest risk factors. And this is what people don't get. Some of these holler people, and that's what I'm going to call them, they live in a holler. They come out once, twice a month. They're happy in their little community. They don't get exposed to a lot of crap. So when something hits them, it hits them. Yeah. All right, let's pull cards on Crazy Texas Governor and see where his plans are.
Ooh, that'll be fun. Now, that's Governor Abbott, if I'm correct.
Yes, Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott should be in chains right now. So we have the Page of Cups. He's trying to spread a message, build up his political pursuits. We also have the Eight of Wands, with a lot of people pointing out all the things he's done wrong. And then the final outcome is the Five of Pentacles, meaning that there may be a good spiritual connection going on, but I don't think that it's going to be too well for him, because the Five of Pentacles talks about the lack or lack thereof. So whatever he's doing, it isn't going to be good. And let's go ahead and just go for a center cut. All this to remind everyone where we're at. We're at the Nine of Pentacles, which money is controlling everything, and I'd say Governor Abbott is in big trouble financially.
Ah, good deal. Well, hello, Terry, and yeah. Alrighty. Oh. And I do have to go with Rachel. 100% effective against hospitalization and death. Yes.
It reduces it to a possible standard home cold.
Ah, there we go. And Rachel has a question. Ready for it?
Sure.
All right, Rachel, October 9th, 82. I didn't get the job I was hoping for, but I'm in line for another. Yet again. How do you think it's going to wash out?
I think it washes out well. I still think that we have the Wheel of Fortune here. They're trying to figure out where to put you because they know they need to move you. We have the Six of Wands here, which is you coming and returning to them. We also have you being the diplomat. And the card that popped out that I thought was interesting was the Knight of Swords. You're ready for battle. they know that you've got the ability to move people and to get things done there. I think the position they move you into is because they got trouble. And it looks like a paper war nightmare, insanity all over the place, and they know you can walk in about a month, get it organized. I would make them pay you. Like, this needs to be a salary debate.
Oh, yeah. It's always important to know, like, for anyone to know your value. And kind of knowing a little bit about who we're talking about, honey, you have a lot of value. Like, you start adding up some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know you know that, but sometimes it's good to, like, just keep it in mind. So, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's get Ashley's question, and then we have to give our Scarlet warning.
All righty. So, Ashley, 2696. Do you see anything special happening this week coming in my cards? And is Baby Guest just going through a growing period, or is something else going on? He's been cranky.
He's going through a growing period. You're growing a football player. Like, when he starts taking real food in, you better watch, because you might have to feed him a lot more beans and rice, because he's going to bulk it up and be huge. That's just baby. That's just a baby. He's just being a baby. He, a little comfortable in his skin, close too tight because he's getting bigger. All right. In your cards in general this week, Ashley, we do have some financial benefits coming. We also have a step up in the relationship. And then we have, as your effectors, we have temperance, meaning you learn to balance what you need, and also opportunities. Look for them everywhere. Okay. So give our Scarlet warning.
Alrighty, if you have small children or are easily offended, now's probably a time to go find headphones or find somewhere else to be. If you are a small child and your parents are easily offended, or basically just because you're a small child and you're not allowed to hear such things, please go explore the lovely world of Disney or the rest of the internet that is child friendly.
Right. Step up in your marriage relationship, Ashley. All right, so Ashley brought this up. I've been waiting for it to fall out because I haven't heard all of it yet, and we've gotten into this one.
All righty.
So apparently, there was a mother who was making six-figure income a year, double during COVID, on OnlyFans.
Yeah, with kids in a Catholic school. Apparently one of the other parents, or many of the other have experienced her content and made it known to the school. Called for her 3 kids to all be thrown out, and actually they were.
Yeah.
Because they considered it a violation of their morality standards that the family apparently agreed to when they enrolled their children. Yeah. Meanwhile, the school's been quite ugly about making sure, or not making sure, that the children in the middle of all this, the ones they're actually supposed to be caring about, could actually have a decent separation from the school, including getting their stuff back.
Right.
So, yeah, it's been a lot.
Well, it's been a lot. There's a lot of things going on here. But this is kind of like the same old song and dance. Jealousy, jealousy, jealousy going on. And it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it having to do with, while her content was for a mature audience,
right?
It's at the same time, this was something she did with her husband. And even if it wasn't,
well, and see, this is why there is a separation between church and state. There should be a separation between church and education. This is why when we hear stupid things like, oh, we need to give vouchers to parents so they can choose their schools. No. No.
No. Sorry. Never been a big fan of the pulling, and which West Virginia is actually, I believe, getting ready to, if they haven't voted on that, they are getting ready to vote on that. Basically, it's just diversion of money from the public education system. But the charter school voucher scenario,
and the mother has the reporting parents, of course, have not been kicked out.
No, because they did the good moral thing, right? As far as the school, the church, and their community goes.
Right. We've seen this type of shamery before.
Yeah.
We see this in all adult industries. We see this in, my industry, my old industry, in the bars and the clubs, in the stripping industry. This is ridiculous. She's at home producing content, taking care of her kids, paying the bills, driving a very nice car, and writing nice checks to this place.
Well, and that's probably the most important part. And let's not forget, I'm sure that school and others like it don't typically ask about where anyone else's money comes from and what they do to get it, just that the checks don't bounce.
Right.
Like, as long as they keep getting the checks, they don't particularly care who, or what occurs to make that happen. So again, unless you're going to go through and audit all of these parents' finances and just exactly how they make their money and just how Christian or not it is,
right?
Yeah, all you're doing is cherry picking and sitting there going, well, we can, have a quote unquote high moral, or moral high ground on this one, because she's doing sex work. And you don't care if like the rest of those checks you get are from someone who, sells drugs, because apparently, no one's reporting the guy they get their pot from. Because like statistically, like there's more going on there. Like the church is not going to care if someone is working there, or one of the parents that is sending their child there is like their entire job could be to liquidate companies, just go in, throw people's pension and obligations and healthcare obligations into one company, throw all the assets in another, and then claim bankruptcy and walk away, and a bunch of people lose their healthcare and retirement.
Right.
Like they wouldn't, I'm sure they would not care about that.
Right.
It's like, and I'm still sitting here going, didn't Jesus love the whore more than the bankers? Like,
here's the thing. And this really gets me because, of course, this is a Catholic school. And one of their saints is Saint Mary Margaret. Okay. Mary Margaret's a saint. Mary Margaret was a prostitute.
Mary Margaret or Mary Magdalene?
Mary Magdalene. Sorry.
Okay.
Same one, in my view. It's same story, basically.
Well, okay.
So, made her money that way. Paid to make sure the disciples had food that way. Like, this was standard business practices of the times that your religion was wrote in.
Yeah. Really? Well, it is known as, like, one of the oldest professions, but what?
No. Totally,
I mean, this is...
full body action. This woman's taking pictures at home, away from the children, in her bedroom, when she's alone, whenever, and making six figures off of them.
Oh, yeah. And Shannon brings up the point that someone was probably upset their husbands were viewing the site and saw he was subscribed and threw a fit because she couldn't divorce her husband without being condemned by their friends and community.
Yeah, and
Meanwhile,
yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of this is jealousy. A lot of this is anger that's misdirected.
Yeah.
You know, that it's easier to call her out than it is, you know, the fact that her, you know, that a spouse is looking at this content.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, thinking that she's going to bore him. Personally, I would just like sell the house, go find a new backdrop for my work, take my 6-figure income out of that community and go to like LA where you can shoot all year long.
Yeah. Personally, I'm of the mindset that, you know, if I literally left my last job and had long thought, you know, if I thought I could turn a decent living in pornography, I'm there.
Right.
I really don't have an issue with it. It's just, you know, not a thing I have an issue with. Like, if it pays the bills, pays them well, I have no problem with that. Now, granted, when I left my last job, I think my exact comment was, you know, even if I have to end up on a corner turning tricks for quarters, I would gladly do that before I go back there.
Right. Well, and this has been my position, and this is always going to be my position. And I kind of shared the story on our launch last night because it got brought up and we were talking about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when America's going to get the clue that adult entertainment is a thing. Adult entertainment makes money. And makes a lot of money, more money than the psychic industry does. Not everybody's a crackhead that does it. There are some that are pure business. I have a story back when I was a pop-up bear. Boy came in, $500 Mr. Cottontail contest. He won it. He asked it, and he came back and he worked every night. He was in debt. He had a baby coming. Everything was all messed up. By the time he was done, this job is like football or everything else. There is an expiration date on your ass. He had everything paid off. He had money in the bank, but he was professional as heck with it. I've seen girls in strip clubs that are strippers, and you think they're accountants during the day. I don't know. When they walk in that evening, they know what their bag is and they know what to do with it.
Yeah, and to answer Ashley's question, sorry, I'd been trying to get there at California. Like, I'm sorry, a mom with an OnlyFans account in California seems like so benign.
I thought it was Texas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
okay.
It's Texas. She needs to move to California. Oh.
No?
Yeah, you're right. It is California.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was just double checking because I offhand, I couldn't remember. I kept wanting to say Indiana, and I was like, no, that's wrong.
No.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a legal business. It's a good business. It's good money. And, hey, if I had the body I had when I was 22, I'd go back. I think that this is just ridiculous and bullcratic.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. It's like, I follow X-Mean Queen X. She's a house mom down in Memphis. Some of the stuff she posts up is more motivating than I see coming out of these spiritual teachers that I follow on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many issues I have with adult entertainment that has way less to do with nudity, sex, language, or anything else that most people have an issue with. I have more of an issue, truthfully, honestly, with the fact that once you are outed as an adult performer,
mm-hmm.
that tends to be the last thing you get to be. in every conversation, in everything, that's it. That's all you've done. That's all you were good for.
Yep.
And I think it does speak more to the broader community and how we commoditize human beings.
Right.
But we also do that with, a lot of different professions.
Right.
That do not have status.
Right.
And we make it very easy to dismiss people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, once you're a garbage man, you're always going to be a garbage man. Once you're a maid, you're always a maid. Like, and that speaks a lot historically. That speaks a lot, again, about the commoditization of humans.
Right. Well, and sorry, everybody is a commodity. Hard spiritual fact. Everybody is a commodity. Don't care who you are. You're a commodity. We're traded and invested every day. I bought a freaking candy bar because YouTube fills my freaking commercials with them all the time. I'm a commodity. I'm a matrix. That's the marketing side. Set that aside. I'm just tired of the damn shaman. I'm tired of the crap. I'm tired of the, emotional baggage. I'm tired of people judging other people and getting jealous because they're doing better.
Well, and here's where I always go back to. I went to college with a woman who literally, and fun side note, was a lesbian, paid her way through college as a stripper. She graduated with 0 loan. Like, as in, she owed nothing when the day she graduated. It fully paid for her education. And because she was smart about it. She knew what she was getting into. She knew what, money she needed to make. She wasn't there for a good time. She was there to earn the money. And she walked out of college debt-free.
Well, Michelle Visage, she didn't strip. She was an MC. That's how she made her money. That's how a lot of people make money. And make good money.
There we go.
Yeah.
Because
master degrees don't pay for themselves.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And,
Well, okay, once you get the degree,
No, it doesn't.
And sometimes.
Very
well, we used to run into that with MBAs. In which their career stalled out, or they were being promoted into a position that honestly the company told them you have to go back to school and be working on your MBA and get it, or we have to take you out of the position.
Right.
And I actually knew one person. I don't know how his situation resolved. This was not a student. This was a friend of mine. But he effectively, his company caught him without an MBA. One of 2 people in this bank that did not have an MBA that was a vice president. And they effectively told him that they had to reduce his level. Like, they had to take him out of that role. Ultimately, it ended up he left.
Right.
And within just a few months, they were begging him back. Suddenly, they realized that this MBA thing didn't really compete well with someone who started in their call center and had literally spent, a couple of decades climbing up the ranks to get where he was, that he knew the business inside and out. He had effectively an MBA in that company. Whatever you could do, how you could do it, what regulatory oversight was going to control it. And, eventually they were coming back and realizing the mistake they made.
Right.
So, no, some degrees don't pay off or don't pay for themselves. Some degrees do. And MBA can, in many cases, if you are locked in with a good company. But then sometimes you have to balance out, why won't you take my skills and experience and the performance and weigh it against the necessity of getting an MBA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
we ran into a lot of students like that.
Right.
Like we were a working person's MBA program. So we absolutely refused anyone trying to roll from an undergraduate business administration to master's level.
Right.
We didn't. That wasn't someone we accepted. We could point out other schools that did and tell you go have fun with that.
Right.
Because the program was built around working professionals.
Right.
Entirely. And a lot of it was going to be very, very hard, or be very, very comical, depending upon your perspective. If you were going in just with textbook knowledge and not real world experience.
Right.
Mostly because our professors would eat you alive.
Like Cheetos. But anyhow, of course, you had a professor that measured staples.
Yes, I did. And that was actually one of my favorite professors. And that was at the very, very beginning of my undergraduate degree. And I will say this, and I will call her out. She will appreciate it if she ever stumbles upon. But Maury Lockley, thank you so much. You were amazing. But she was a very tough grader. And we would have people literally end up in tears in the middle of an exam because they realized how bad they just screwed up. But I'll say this, as she did, because she had the numbers to prove it and back her up. Every single one of her students graduated. Almost 100%.
Right.
Like so close. If you took the other professor for the exact same class, her graduation rate was way lower.
Right.
Because she did not have the same stringent requirements that Mrs. Lockley did.
Right.
Yeah. She would eviscerate you on not following directions.
Right.
And her theory was, you're going to go out into a business world where your technical knowledge really doesn't matter if you can't deliver the exact results that a client or a business that you work for wants.
Right.
You can have all the technical skill and ability in the world, but if you screw up meeting the client demand, you're not going to survive.
Right.
So, persnickety as it sounds, as horrible as it seems, you picked up a lot of things from her class really well.
Right.
And she was not wrong. We started being able to identify each other by whether we had Lockley or not. Like, if you had Lockley, you knew that someone else had Lockley because they were in the same mental line. The other ones, you'd start hearing questions like, what's data? And you're just like, there's 2/3 of a class at that point, because some of these people have already fallen off. 2/3 of a class looking at this girl going, which this actually did happen. There was one woman in my class that asked that question, and we all that had Lockley just sat there and went, you did not have Lockley.
Right.
How have you made it this long if you can't answer that question? Because that is a foundation building block.
Right.
And then another third of the class going, yeah, we'd like to know that too. Well, then data is, not a thing you're going to understand at this point in the degree because we're not sure you're going to graduate and it's going to matter. That's
right.
Because this was at the point in which you've been in this program for 4 years.
Right.
If you don't know yet, you're screwed.
Well, and that can be very difficult. And yeah, I'm just tired of the stigma. I'm tired of the bull crap. I'm tired of the bad Lifetime movies about the poor girl that's stripping. No, some of these ladies, they strip till about, this mom's 35 and she's making 6 figures. She looks good. She took care of herself.
Like, go her. Work it.
So this next one,
Yes.
A little bit of a social media one, and I'm kind of divided on the forces of this one, so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So apparently James Charles talked to somebody on Snapchat.
Yes.
Sounds like a benign statement.
Should be.
Should be. Dude was 16, said he was 18. We've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
He's recording it on his iPad to his...
Not James Charles.
Not James Charles.
The 16-year-old.
16-year-old. And then comes out and makes a TikTok about it.
Mm-hmm. So now James Charles is being labeled a
groomer.
A pedophile groomer, like, yeah. To me, I'm just stuck at this is more so sounding like Hollywood gossip mongering. Like, we didn't have anything better to cover today, so TMZ ran with that.
Little Dig Deeper is the one that's running with it, and it broke out on TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to some facts in case you don't know who James Charles is. He's a makeup artist. He's a YouTuber. He's grown up in the social media world. He was the focus for My Sister. He's had a lot of other things go on. He was basically flirting. I've said worse things in a gas station than this kid has said. Okay?
Although, I mean, I'm starting to wonder on James Charles. 1 second.
Okay.
Because I don't always keep up, but I'm sitting here going, he's really, James Charles is 21?
Yeah, he's 21.
Like, I don't mean to be rude, and I shouldn't say this, but I thought he was older.
No.
I guess YouTube really does some shit to people.
Well,
because
some of the shit he's had done.
He's been around for a while.
He has been around for a while.
I mean, you know.
And actually, yes, James Charles gets canceled every 5th time Jeffree Star gets canceled.
Dude, you know, it doesn't go well for him. But no, I seriously, like, Jesus, born in 99, that's just a scary sentence to me. Like, and can now drink. But yeah, but he has started his social media career in 2015. So in terms of YouTube, that's getting a little long in the tooth. Like, which is horrible to say, but like a 5-6 year run is really starting to kind of 21 with 12 million.
Yeah,
that's scary, as it should be. Like, not kidding, Mary.
Like, he's worked for it. You know, he's done the videos, he's done the makeup, but he needs to get some smarts. Like, he needs to pop up there, look at him and go, if you want to flirt with a dude, you do it on these apps where it's designed for that.
Yeah. Well, now he's previously had some controversy with potentially, like, the way it was kind of like worded is that he was grooming straight guys for, you know, basically like to have sex with them.
Yeah.
Like, that was his last, like, controversy.
Right.
I'm still sitting here going, he's a 21-year-old kid. I'm not saying he is not talented. I'm not saying that he lacks, you know, abilities or anything like that. But it's like, oh, come on. Like, at 21 and 16, isn't that still technically legal?
No, he has to be 18. Yeah.
I thought it was a 6-year window. So I thought he couldn't be any more than 22 and talk to a 16-year-old. But anyway. Yeah. I'm just still sitting here going, they're both kids.
Right.
They're both kids on Snapchat, being kids on Snapchat. And oh my God.
Right.
There wasn't even penis. Repeating that sentence. There wasn't even penis. Like, yeah.
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 Like I said, I saw the video of the release James Charles grooming. I've said worse in a gas station.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here going, this just feels like layers of All About Eve.
Yeah.
Like, because the 16-year-old is an aspiring YouTuber, and the fact that he recorded everything from the first hello to the last goodbye kind of speaks a little premeditation here.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone's a little cunning.
Someone's looking for a video.
Knew who he was going to talk to, knew what he was going to be doing, thought he might get some sensational, video to release on TikTok. What he got had to be sensationalized to even make it worth talking about.
Yeah, it's like one of the things that's being reported is James Charles started deleting messages. The app does that for you. This is the envy of Snapchat. It will delete the messages as they're read.
Right.
In 24 hours.
And the idea behind that is supposed to be that you can have a more private conversation. Snapchat is into encryption, and yes, it auto deletes messages.
Right.
Like, shocker.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to allow people to feel more comfortable in their conversations, that this isn't going to come back to haunt them. Of course, then again, nothing will ever stop a iPad or whatever setting in front of someone's screen that they diligently keep their screen in front of so that they can record it. Yeah. I think more so this needs to be cancel culture on that poor kid.
Yes.
Who literally at this point, whose claim to fame is I created a crap storm around this other YouTuber because I'm that bitch. Right. And that's what I've got for that, is like, that's who this kid is. Like, I cannot have sympathy for this kid. There was nothing to feel sympathy for. Right. This is not someone who got lured into something or whatever. No, if you're sitting there screenshotting, or more importantly, sitting there with a whole separate device to record your conversation, which cannot be comfortable. Can we just point that out? Like, can you imagine, like, even with tripods, if you've got an iPad sitting on a tripod pointing at a phone that you're having to hold and interact with, unless you even attach a keyboard to that phone, this is not a comfortable way to have a conversation with anyone. You know what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah.
But we've seen this in the gay community forever. Like, I walked into a gay club before I should have even been able to be in a gay club. Fact, not fact. Fact to fact. We see this on the apps. We all know someone that talked to somebody on the apps that are designed for dating and hooking up and going, oh shit, you're 16. Get off the app.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I have and I've said it a million times to everyone literally that we know. There's no such thing as an 18-year-old online.
No.
They don't exist.
No.
They are non-existent. They do not exist. If their profile says 18, they're under 18. I will guarantee you every time. Because if they actually are 18, they probably got online a couple of years before that. They haven't updated their birthday or their age, however, which way the app takes it. And they're going to be perpetually older than 18. They turn 18, they are now 19 or 20 or 22 on the app. Right. There is no such thing as an 18-year-old online.
Right. Well, and here's the other thing with that. Some of these suggestions. All right, I'm going to pop you into chatty land. You're chatting with a dude and he says, I need to see your driver's license.
No, you don't.
I need to see your passport.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Get real, people. These aren't real solutions. Real solutions, James, you don't Snapchat when you're looking to hook up. You say, join me over on Grindr. Or
even still, that just moves the problem from one platform to another.
Yeah, but over there, they're a lot more restrictive. They'll jerk an underage down quickly.
Right, but here's the thing, though. How much worse would that have been situationally for James Charles if the story then became, started a conversation on Snapchat and lured 16-year-old to gay adult hookup site?
We're not even going to Snapchat. Snapchat is for you to post your pictures for your fans. You're not chatting. If I was managing James, you don't chat on Snapchat. You don't share pictures on Snapchat unless it's makeup looks or work pictures. That is not your personal device. Your new name is Eric Carmen, and you can go chat anywhere you want to as Eric Carmen, not as James Charles.
Yeah.
Like, I think, but
don't use any of these professional headshots I'm paying for to, hook up.
Exactly.
That should probably be number 2, is if we're going to be using this for your social media presence for your business, please don't use that as a profile picture. That's kind of A1. Do not use the same images. Come on. No one wants to be tracked down that way.
Right.
Google reverse image search, not your friend.
Right.
Not your friend. You do not want people being able to take the image you send them in a messenger or, pull off of, a dating site and be able to feed that back through.
Right.
Don't do it. Do not do it.
Right.
Because it will eventually lead you to their LinkedIn, their Facebook friends, their Twitter friends,
and none of, Eric Carmen doesn't wear makeup on his profile. He doesn't post makeup posters. Wipe that stuff off. Do your messy hair. It'll be okay. Draw on some eyebrows. More bushier eyebrows. Yeah. These are the things that normal stars, when they come up in TV or they come up in radio, the TV, or TV and movies, they all get told this.
Right, but he's a YouTuber.
And he doesn't get this.
He's been in his own bubble for the most part.
Right.
And not that it's a bad thing. I'm not trashing his content. I'm not trashing his abilities. That's not what that's about. What I mean is, this isn't traditional acting land.
Right.
This is, you could literally have spent the last 6 years in literally his mother's basement. And no, you're not going to get that advice. You don't have to have a business manager, even with 12 million. It's not like they issue you one.
Right.
Now, your bank might issue a personal financial advisor, in their wealth management division.
What I don't get is where is the older gay man that should be telling him, oh, you don't play that shit, and you don't play this shit, and you don't play this shit? Do we James? Do you need one of those? Because if so, my number's all over the place. Find me. We'll take care of this shit and clean up your act.
Yeah, really. But no, I don't know. It's kind of a mess.
Right.
It's been a mess. But we've had parts of this conversation over and over again. It's just oh, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Both directions. If you're under 18, please quit trying to get into adult spaces.
Right.
Is literally where I have to go with that. I know you can't wait to grow up. I couldn't wait to grow up either. Quit trying to wreck people's lives, because that's what you're doing. It's the reality. That's the cold, hard reality. And I do not mean that towards anyone who is actually being groomed, who is actually, getting pulled into situations where a parent, a guardian, or someone in authority is misusing that access.
Right.
Abuse them.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what happened here. I get that he has celebrity behind him, but I don't think this kid had any of the other issues going into this. I think he quite frankly knew exactly where he was walking into and what was
going to be
hoped would happen for his own celebrity.
Exactly. And trying to clout and try to grade clout. Now the drama channels,
that's where I'm at with that story.
Right.
Like that's all I got.
Yeah. All right. So moving on.
Yes.
Trump State Department appointee is being charged for attacking police in the Capitol riot.
Yes.
Yes.
Fun. Mary does well. Going back to James Charles just for a hot second.
Okay.
So stage mom, stage dad.
They have stage mom and stage dad, but I hate to say this, they're straight.
Still, I don't know. I think that's the point. Jerk him aside and be like, look, it's a scary world out there, and you have money, and people are going to want it. You have fame. People are going to want to glam onto it. Please be careful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, got you there. Like that's where I'm at, Mary, is someone like he's gonna have to listen to someone.
Right.
Granted, at 21, technically, no, he doesn't, but like a 21-year-old with 12 million, this is not a good thing.
And that's only estimated. We're not sure that he has just 12 million.
Right. But at least,
yeah,
you know.
So Trump department,
12 million may be significant. It ain't lasting long if you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're like not listening to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's 21-year-olds I'm sure can spend 12 million in a weekend.
Right.
Like, give me 12 million. I can show you how to spend that in a weekend, but this is why, not my goal.
But it is my goal, and I could probably spend it in a weekend. Actually, with the right real estate agent, I could spend it in an hour.
Okay, potentially yes, but no. I know you. We get 12 million. You are going to go on a happy planner spree of the likes of which that no one has ever seen.
No, honey. Happy planner.
And we will do a video. We would do a video. I'm just saying we would do a video. Like I don't know where we'd shoot it. Maybe an Astrodome, but because that'll be a haul. Like 12 million in Happy Planner. I mean, not as big of a haul as it could be, but because Happy Planner is expensive.
No. And by the way, patrons, Happy Planners are still up for grabs. No. See, this is what would happen if Aeson gets $12 million to occur. Hello, Miss Walbrown, are you still selling real estate? Wonderful. Bring the MLMs over. We need to have a conversation. I want deals closed within the day. Let's make this happen.
Well, there you go.
And I start buying business property, and suddenly Azure Green knows my name because they just got a $1 million order from me, and there's a lovely new store opened up.
Fair. No, technically what I said is if we ever did get that kind of money, and what you agreed to was that you get 1 million to do with as you please,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm supposed to keep you away from the rest.
Right. Yes, I get if we win the lottery, or if I sign a movie deal, whatever. I get $1 million to do whatever I please with. That can get very, very interesting.
Yes, and Ashley, Happy Planner is a planning system for literal planners. You're seeing the rings behind him there. It's a disc-bound system. Basically, Happy Planner is the new Franklin Covey.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had to upgrade. Since we've launched so many things, I've had to upgrade to a big, and I was already stocked up for a classic 18-month.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at, Mary. Like, hi. Like, I do not want to be, what is it? Oh God, what is his story is so sad. But Walker, the multi-million winner, one of the lotto winners, from West Virginia, and like his whole life imploded.
Yeah.
After he won the money, it's all spent, it's all gone. He was an old dude. He should have been able to have outlived it. Like, he should have dropped dead before he ran out of money because he won so much.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it was I guess a fun ride while it lasted. I think there was like an attempted murder on him. Like, there was all kinds of crazy.
Right.
And it and then it ended up with he's flat broke.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with that. This is what Aeson would do, and I'll make it very public what I would do. I would buy a building. There's a retail space. I would contacts I have and see how fast we can get a sign put up and stock in my store.
Yeah. And sorry, the offer on Happy Planner is that he has had to switch from classic size to full size. So he has a lot of classic materials that he would love to rehome.
Yep.
So if you are interested, let us know.
Yeah. Looks like Kathy says she's interested. And
awesome.
Yeah. So let's make a note of that.
Alrighty. See where my happy little pad is. Oh, come here. There we go. But yeah.
And also next week's video will be on planning and planner. That's what I'm planning on filming.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. So, we started talking about Trump department official charged in attacking police in the riot. He's been caught on camera. Yeah. I can't even begin to pronounce this name, so I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay.
Like, can we get some English names? Like, I miss a Ted or Tom.
Oh, dear. Oh, Federico Klein.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, so he has been arrested and charged in the Capitol riots. They've done a lot of charges in the Capitol riots. If you're interested in those, we'll talk about them. But we're looking at least 300 people currently being charged on federal crimes, some of them aiding and abetting. We're also found out this week that the FBI is listening and using geolocation to determine if Congress was involved in the Capitol riots in any way.
Yes. Yeah. Like, don't you love it when a good conspiracy theory comes to life?
Well, I love it when a real conspiracy theory comes to life.
And I mean this in the sense of, like, if this were not our reality, this would sound like a conspiracy theory. Like, that it's an inside job and all these people were involved in the upper levels of government. Like, it literally reads like a conspiracy theory.
Uh-huh.
But it happened.
What's bad is I think I remember a movie about this. Like one of those really bad movies that I watch when I'm really bored. Something to that effect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's lots of things wrong with this. But yeah. Also, I think it's kind of the premise of a couple of different television shows. Designated Survivor. There's it's an Australian one. I cannot remember, but similar theory. Like, it's this very big, giant, like massive cover up that sounds like a conspiracy theory, like you've gone off the rails.
Right.
Until it's like, no, that was reality. Like,
yeah,
funny thing. But yeah.
Yeah. So in other news, our lovely Q shaman has once again been denied freedom. Now, for those that remember our little Q shaman, he went on a hunger strike for 3 days because they wouldn't feed him organic food.
Yeah.
And he needed to be released from jail because it was against his religion to be in jail. I think it's against most.
That's convenient.
Now he should be released from prison because he won't be he's going to refuse the vaccine.
Oh, well. Of course. Anti-vaxxer. Who could be surprised?
Yes. The judge is like, you're wasting my time. Go back to your cell.
Yeah. Like, I understand people have a right to participate in their own defense, and it's part of like the whole legal process. Can we just go ahead and call him crazy and just do institutionalization and leave it there?
No, because there's no longer institutionalization.
Oh, come on. We have to have a like state-run institution somewhere that we can just park him for 10 to 20.
Right. But no, he would go into a ward and get very comfortable. All right. So we're all going to talk about, we're going to go into the stimulus here in a minute. I have to pull up the latest because they are still working on it. Yeah. But I sent Joe the other article if he'll go for it.
All righty. Just one moment. So yeah. All right. So Zolofgren quietly releases massive social media report on GOP colleagues. All righty. So yeah, let's see where we're at with that. It's a 2,000-page report documenting social media posts by her Republican colleagues who voted against certifying the results of the presidential election. And it chronicles the social media activity of members on public forums immediately before the November election, right after January 6th. That report's been up for a week. And then, yeah, so let's see. This is still from this week. Wow, scary. So yesterday, apparently, CNN had reported that federal investigators are examining the records of communications between members of Congress and the pro-Trump mob. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on here. Yeah, so, and there was an effort by the House Administration Committee to pull the relevant social media posts and compile them in an effort to gather facts. So, yeah, that's kind of our broad strokes on that one.
Yes. So this may be interesting. We may be having different people. All right, guys. So here we go on to the Senate. The Senate Democrats brokered a last-minute bill on unemployment benefits to clear the major hurdle for the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So it has cleared. Now it has to go back to representatives, I believe, and get verified before it'll go to the president. That should be quick and easy. According to Business Insiders, the New Deal plan provides $300 for jobless aid through September 6th. It would provide tax forgiveness for people making up to $150,000. Go away. See, guys, this is the reason I'll wait for BBC is because it's not as bad with the stuff as this is. Of course, we've got useless Joe.
Hey, I'm not useless.
Not you. You know, Joe Manchin, whose daughter charges $600 for an EpiPen.
Oh, yes.
did not support the new Democratic plan that would provide jobless aid through the end of September and waive taxes for the first $10,200 in unemployment for every person. His opinion derailed the Senate debate of the relief plan for nearly 9 hours. Good God, he's a big windbag.
Basically. It's a mess. It's a mess. I don't know. I'm hoping that I don't even know what to hope for with this one anymore.
Right.
In terms of the stimulus and whether like it should just be a, just it's not that I'm saying that no one needs a stimulus, no one needs these issues addressed. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to get there in any meaningful way through this. And I'm afraid of that. Like, I really am afraid of that. I'm afraid we are just going to end up having to go back to square one, start all over on this again, and probably end up at the exact same place, if not worse.
Right.
Meanwhile, everyone else waits.
Yeah. So let's talk about Joe Manchin, useless bag he is, of unfortunately West Virginia, which he's originally from Kentucky, does not support the new Democratic plan that will provide jobless rates through the end of September, waive taxes for the first $10,200 of unemployment aid for every person. His opposition derailed for 9 hours this process. The president has made it clear that we'll have enough vaccines for every American by the end of May. I'm confident the economy recovery will follow, Manchin said in his statement. We have reached a comparable to enable the economy to rebuild quickly while also protecting those unemployment benefits being hit unexpectedly with tax bills next year. Some experts raised concerns of the federal government pulling the plug on unemployment aid as the economy slowly regains lost jobs as the pandemic subsides. We need jobless aid in place under the labor markets are recoverable, said Emily Parson. Yeah. Senate Democrats appear to be another step closer to fulfilling a major part of Biden's legislation agenda. The bill includes $1,400 stimulus check for most taxpayers, $300 in federal unemployment benefits through August, and $200 billion in funding for schools and funds for vaccine and virus testing.
Which, honestly, can we just talk about the fact that our unemployment benefit having to be supplemented in the midst of this is kind of like the greatest indictment against our unemployment system I have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
That here's the reality is that they realized that the number of people hitting unemployment, that the number of and the group of people that were specifically being laid off and sent home could not survive on a standard unemployment benefit. Those people have been losing their jobs for years in much smaller numbers and have been expected to do without before now.
Right.
So this is the biggest indictment of our unemployment system, our entire welfare system.
Right.
And the idea that there is a social safety net that will catch you. There isn't.
There isn't.
That's the reality. It's not gonna make it for the vast majority of people, and those that can eke through. I don't know how you're doing it. I really don't. Well, I know you're doing it with lots of like additional supports there.
Right.
And
so
they have to have family member helping you out.
Right. But, also, we were hoping for a $15 minimum wage. We didn't get that because they can't do that the way they're having to do this bill to get the bill through. It'll be back up. We've got Bernie and Elizabeth working on it. I'm very sure those two will be holding some grindstones to some people. Because here's the facts, and I didn't know this. Working McDonald's part-time in Denmark. Same cost of living as here.
Mm-hmm.
You make $22.75 an hour starting out.
Mm-hmm.
The burger, everyone says, oh, they'll have to raise prices. They'll have to raise prices. Is $1.50 cheaper than the average American McDonald's meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get served on real plates because they don't do this styrofoam paper crap.
Yeah. Like the boogie monster this has been made into has been a nightmare.
Right.
The idea of increasing minimum wage, destroying the economy is just such a crap argument.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not understand this. Like, and every time I try to argue it, some idiot, and that's all I can say for them, will start trying to argue with me about economics, that I don't know a damn thing about economics. I wasn't an economics major. I did, however, get my degree from a school of business in economics, and I paid much attention to an economics class. What I don't remember is that companies were owed a profit, that companies were owed a workforce that suffered, and I don't remember the part in economics where basically just because you have the idea for a business means you are owed not only a business but a slave force that is doing nothing but making you money. Right. And that the rest of the world has to suffer for that. Mm-hmm. I miss that. Now, I was not a perfect student. I didn't go to every class, but I would think that would be a concept that would be more than one day.
Right.
I really do. I think it doesn't really jive with the rest of the economics debate we had. Now, I will say there was a lot in a school of business that I had issues with, surrounding like different, aspects of business and the way things are, in that education model of a business school, that the education is geared. It is very company focused, not people focused, but that's more of a reflection of our culture, not necessarily the only way that this works, and it has very little to do with economics,
right?
And quite frankly, we see that all the time now. Right. The belief that in a supply-demand system, you have to keep an arbitrary thumb on income to avoid companies, having to reconsider whether or not they need to be in this market because they can't pull off how to, make burgers cheaper or sell them at the same price while paying their workers more, just means you believe that McDonald's and Walmart is owed a living. Right. And I'm sorry, usually the people that are making this argument are the same ones saying the world does not owe you a living, but apparently it does if you're a CEO. Like, I don't understand things that, some things just don't make sense to me. Right. And that's one of them.
All right. So Kathy asked, would she get a stimulus check?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Okay. This is what we currently know about people getting a stimulus check. This is as of yesterday at 4:30. It was updated today at 6:78. Individuals who make less than $75,000 or head of households who make less than $112,500, married couples who file their taxes jointly, both qualify for the full amount if they make up to jointly $150,000. Individuals who make 75 to 85 would still get a stimulus check, but it would be less than the $1,400. Same goes for head of households making 112 to 120 and couples making 150 to 160. Those who make more won't get a payment over 160,000. Kathy, I don't believe that you're in that database, that market, but that's a good choice of things.
Yeah. And well, I think maybe her concern might have also been regarding her disability.
She'll still get the data. She'll still
right.
get the stimulus check.
Yeah. Yeah. Disability does not preclude you from
Right.
it. Neither does any of the other like Social Security payments. Unless you are doing so well, you won't need it.
Right.
And we mean that in terms of you invested mightily. And dividends are paying in.
Yeah.
Like if you have to like worry about the tax, and I mean worry about the tax impact of dividend checks, then you might not get a stimulus check.
Right.
Otherwise, pretty much you're good.
Right. And that's important.
Oh, disability increased by 200. That would be amazing. However, that's not even the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Like, because, yeah, disability, no one's getting rich off that. No one.
No one.
Literally no one.
Right.
You work it out. Disability payments are almost built around the preconception you live with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're trying to live independently on disability, you're going to have a struggle.
Yeah.
And it is very much a income level that's going to push you into more rural areas, especially if you're a renter and do not own your own home, which many on disability do not.
Well, so many of them coming from the state disability
Mm-hmm.
aren't allowed to because it's over their assets.
Yeah, it'll screw up your assets.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying is ultimately it can be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
That when you break it down, that even with, because technically you end up qualifying for SNAP, even with that, your combined money, like this whole Reagan era welfare queen concept doesn't work. Like it's not reality. Like
right.
One, good luck trying to pull that stunt of getting like 6 and 7 checks.
Mm-hmm.
2, that's the money that you're getting is really not worth, 1, the penalties for that, and 2, more importantly, no, the you're not living high on the hog.
Right.
Like that's not how that works.
That's not how it works. That's not how it ever works. And that's insane. And we have a terrible welfare system. We have a terrible system for well,
let's put it this way. If the social safety net that the US has were an actual net and you were jumping out of a building, like I don't care how big the net is, there's so many holes in it, you are more than likely going to land face first on the sidewalk.
Right.
Like that's how this works out.
Well, and we had a conversation, and I want to drift into this. When I bought this house, I ran this house on $387 a month. That's water, electric, power, sewer, gas, and a mortgage payment. We changed the way we did our finances to a better system. It's less stress on me.
Yes.
And I was throwing a bloody fit when I'm running the numbers.
Yeah. Well, and the funny part is we've already run these numbers. You basically just reran them because somehow in your head you could still run this house on $387 a month.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you can't. You really
can't.
Well,
I had bumped it up in my head to where I needed to do $1,000 to run the house.
Right.
Bill-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got less bills because one's already paid. I snowballed that sucker last year, and I'll be snowballing it again this year because it's a pain in my ass to pay.
Yeah.
And we don't currently have gas. So we got electric, water, sewer, cable, which wasn't a building because we didn't have it. It was a luxury. Then now it's required.
Yes. Well, and cable isn't just cable. It's not just television anymore. Like, we don't even have that part of cable. Like, we're just over here with internet.
Yeah.
That's our cable bill, is internet bill.
Yeah.
Like, now, granted, once upon a time, you used to get that for like $19.99 from the phone company.
No, we used to get it for like $15 when we were able to afford it. But that was a luxury.
Oh yeah. Actually, we're doing electric heating units.
Yeah, quartz heating units.
Yeah.
So electric heat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not electric central, just so no one's confused. Like, we ran into that issue when they put the road in, they screwed up the gas line, then kind of kicked it to us and went, hi, surprise. You personally are gonna have to call someone to come out, dig up your yard to reconnect the line so that you can have heat if you want to keep gas.
Right. And Mary, if you want a recommendation on a heater, Joe, can you glance over at your heater and get the name off of it?
Oh no, I have my ring light on.
Oh, okay.
I can't get anything else.
I will post it in the break room. That little sucker does better than our furnace does.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, of course, now that's the other issue we ran into, is that, and I guess tell the whole story to some degree here financially. Before, or as we were looking at, basically before I'd made the move, we had sat down and figured out like where, like what his money was, because we knew I was not going to necessarily be immediately fully functionally employed. We also looked at where the bills were. And then I went through and did a whole spreadsheet that I think traumatized you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went through everything from every single appliance to when the windows were put in, to when the roof was put on, to when the furnace was last replaced, to you name it. I budgeted in for like every 10 years to remodel the bathroom, and I believe it was about every 15 to remodel the kitchen, because that tracks basically. I did this whole spreadsheet. And I told you then, or my comment then, was effectively my view of home, housing, is one way or another, you're renting it. You either rent it from the bank, you either rent it from a landlord, or you rent it from yourself, because now you have to pay all this damn bills yourself. To replace the furnace, and replace the windows, and replace you're going to be paying rent on this sucker for as long as you got it.
I already bought it 3 times.
Somewhere else to pay rent.
Yeah.
Like these are the choices we have. They're always eye openers, Mary. Love Excel sheets.
Yep.
But one of the things that we had talked about very early on was the fact that at that point the furnace, still operational, was 27 years old. And that was going to have to be one of our immediate replacement items. We needed to get ready for that one real quick. Because roughly 25 to 30 is the lifespan of a furnace. 25, you definitely need to be making sure that heat exchangers, in good working order, so it doesn't kill you in your sleep. And usually most services will tell you, go ahead and replace it at 30, because we don't know if it's going to make another winter. And that's just the unfortunate lifespan of a furnace. Ours was gas. So losing that gas line was a big deal.
Yeah. But it opens us up to more options. I'm really falling in love with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. But these little heater things that I've gotten for the dining room, I love it. I said it works great. Does well. But, and I've looked at it and I'm like, I heard for years gas was cheaper. No.
can be. You've never had that luxury.
No.
There was one missing there, and technically that's because there's a missing piece of the puzzle.
Uh-huh.
We have a local Mountaineer Gas office just down the street. Literally, like, if my arm was better, I could throw a football and hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and apparently, if you're that close to one of their local offices, they get real bitchy about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you live like 30 miles from the nearest office, they're just like, fine, you want to blow up and die? We don't care. But apparently, if you blow up and die in their backyard, it looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
So every single thing has had to be like not only just up to code, but up to current code. And yes, they will shut us off for literally any little thing that code changes, even though technically that's not supposed to happen.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, so you've never had a good gas experience with this.
No.
It's always been a nightmare.
It's always been a nightmare. So, winter's been on a little bit, but no, it isn't. It is not cheaper. It is not cheaper. There has been months I've looked at the electric bill and went and looked at my historical records of the gas bill and went, free money.
Yeah, it really hasn't been bad.
No.
Like, there's probably been a few nights it could have been warmer, but still.
Yeah. There's probably been a few nights we could have flipped on the buddy heater that we got, which that thing's kick-ass too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and some of this is also, like, to a degree, you kind of can get a little bit baby-fied with central heat and air. Mm-hmm. In terms of, and I don't mean it's a bad thing or whatever, but that consistency, you get a little more sensitive to, it's a little colder than I would like it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one was, like, we did not see our breath in the house. That would be like a total mischaracterization. Now, there are a couple of mornings that, like, feet hit floor and, like, screams were heard, but
feet hit floor anywhere and screams are going to be heard. It's just a debate on whether it's me screaming or the devil screaming because I woke up.
Well, fair point.
But anyhow, so, and I'm looking at the bills, I'm looking at what I used to pay, and then I'll look over and look at what the jobs I used to do is paying. There's no way on earth.
Yeah.
No,
and that's what a lot of people are facing. Is the reality that because when you're originally talking about getting the house and paying the bills, you're talking about the 90s, which scary, almost 30 years ago.
Thanks for the reminder.
I know, right? It's kicking the pants, isn't it? But in that time, minimum wage hasn't changed all that much. But the price of everything else has. Significantly.
Right.
I can remember my dad screaming about like a $200 gas bill. And I can remember my dad screaming about a $400 gas bill. And I can remember my dad now technically screaming about a $600 gas bill. Also, his house was like 80-some degrees when he had a $600 gas bill.
Ashley, what's its color?
Ooh. So, 826.96, Ashley asks, is the Volkswagen Tiguan the car for me, or do I need to keep looking?
And again, I need a color, because I don't know what that looks like. Blue?
It's the SUV one. Red, apparently.
Okay.
Is there a red one?
Keep looking. This one's Money Pit. We see lovely Five of Pentacles up here, not having the money. It's soaking up money. With the Ace of Swords, that's the start of a new issue or a new problem. And of course, we have the Page of Swords, which is issues and hunting issues.
Ah. But yeah.
I think you may get a baby within a year and a half.
Oh, Ashley's like, of course it was too good to be true. So yeah, sorry about the Volkswagen. Yeah. I know which car she's talking about, and I can understand the. They are pretty. They are pretty. All right, so Mary has a question.
Okay.
All righty. Pardon?
Let's take Mary's question.
All righty, Mary, 11/28/57. I sense a DC project with opportunity to do remote work. Am I on track? Still need to be domiciled in Connecticut, New York metro area for business stuff. Thanks, Aeson.
I feel you're on track, but I still say, Mary, you need to go back to North Carolina.
She's really wanting to go no further than DC.
I understand that, but here's the facts. You have arthritis. You live in the north. You are going to hurt more. There are limited
remote work. Remote work.
I understand remote work. You need somewhere where the temperature is stable so you don't feel like crap. You need a nice, comfortable home with lower expenses. North Carolina works that way. Actually, you better watch because I'm got that move bug going on, especially if, you know, our lovely senators and governor keep it up.
Yeah, really. Oh, well, you can still, Mary, you can still see your doctors in the New York area. There's that lovely little stretch of interstate called 95.
Yep.
You just go and right back down.
And, you know, you got to remember, North Carolina has Duke. They could do better improvements than New York.
Well, there's Duke, Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a decent healthcare system. Not a big fan of UNC, though. Like, they're billing, and that's just not the care that I receive, but their billing office is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, other than that.
All right, y'all. You guys have a great week. We will see you again on Tuesday. Now, I do have a class intro to Wicca on Sunday. If you'd like to join, remember, Patreons get 50% off their classes. And, you know, it's always a rocking time. So who knows what we're talking about. Oh, we have a guest.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Cool. And I'm sure they'll know more about that because we are definitely getting the newsletter out this weekend. We are sorry it's running a little behind. We had a wild and crazy week. We had a launch party.
Yes. And if you will notice, Patreon's, your site is growing. You will have your own private store. You now have a login from the original site to your Patreon site.
All right. And Ashley's looking to schedule an appointment soon.
Yes.
So, yeah, now that we've told them all the wonderful things about being a Patreon, at least as it comes to, like, right now, why don't we flip over and tell them how to become one if they're watching?
Well, to become a Patreon, you can go to PCSP. You take over this, Vanna.
I know. I just need you to change the scroller so I don't miss anyone's name.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't want to do that. But we do want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, and Ashley Guest for being Patreon sponsors. If you'd like to learn more about the show or how to become a Patreon sponsor, please visit us at PCSPnetwork.com.
Yes, and thank you, baristas. You've been kick-ass this month. We hope to have your private site up and running and getting things together there. And I may even start doing exclusive blogging over there. We will see.
There you go. Oh, and sorry, bury the lead, but for those of you who did join us last night for the launch party, the domain finally popped through at 12:11 a.m. This morning.
Yep.
The annoying things that happen. So, yeah.
Yes. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Don't care what the government says. Sign up and get your vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Bye, y'all.
Good night.